Hello everyone, it's Maddie and
Madison.
with Spectrum Art. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, please go ahead and read the description box down below. Learn a little bit more about us and what we do and what the channel's all about. But today we are actually going to be crafting, this is a continuation actually of a live that we did yesterday. So we do lives from time to time, so make sure you hit that subscription and that bell, ring the bell, so you can be notified of when we're live and you can join us and sit here and chat with us live and with the rest of our friends. And we have a wonderful group that crafts together and hangs out together. So we hope that you will join us during those times as well. But this is a continuation from yesterday. So we got up this morning and here was our workstation and we figured, you know what, let's go ahead and hop on and get this show on the road. What is happening here? Well, it looks like a whole bunch of yumminess and color, but I'm gonna kind of take you back a little bit and explain to you where all of this came from. Believe it or not, all of this started with this. If you have seen and I'll link it, actually, I'll link it below and I'll also link it at the end of the video. But if you haven't seen, we have been playing around with piano paper because right now there's a challenge going on, which is Kateri's piano roll paper challenge, right? And I'll put the hashtag on here as well. And you know what? I'll also link that video down below so that you guys can also check that out if you're not familiar with what it is, what it entails, what needs to be done to participate and to be entered into the drawing. But we're utilizing piano paper. I had made a whole bunch of envelopes utilizing piano paper. And then at the end, I had, well, not these, hang on, let me show you. I had all these bits and pieces here left over. And I was gonna chuck them, but then I realized, why would I throw that away? I mean, look at these. These are 100-year-old piano paper. And they're just stunning. And it has the words and it has the little slits, right? And I thought, why would I throw that away? I just couldn't bring myself. So then I decided, all right, let's do something with it. And to do that, we decided to make a collage. And then the collage grew into a pocket collage or collage pocket, and so on, so on, so on, right? That's the way it works. So what we've done is use this as our inspiration, as our jumping off point to go ahead and create some pockets. And to kind of fill you in on these, when we were done and we had counted everything during that live, and I'll link that below too, so you guys can go watch that. It's a fun video to just play while you're doing stuff and just kind of, you know, play back and see what it is that we did and all the chatting that went on in the conversations. But when we were done, we realized that after we counted our pockets and all that, we were short. We were short a few pieces. So, so I grabbed whatever piano roll was left and I actually went ahead and I stamped my own words. I asked the chat for words and they gave me some words. Some of them I had to shorten because they were a little big. But I went ahead and stamped them to kind of, you know, fill in for the ones that were missing. And, you know, the writing is a little bit deeper, of course, because this is 100-year-old ink, where this is something new. It stays on ink. And of course, I didn't have the right size stamps for it, but still, I think it matches quite well. So, long story short, this is where it all started. So let me show you what we have done so far and what you're going to be needing. You're going to be needing some piano paper, piano roll paper. You're going to go ahead and back it up on book pages. You know, any old reader book that you have that you're done with.
Or a kid's book.
Or a kid's book, whatever you have at hand. We are using FARMIRAGE images, and I'll link that below as well. So you guys can go ahead and check these out. But these images are gorgeous. I mean, they're stunning. And right now, she had them on sale for $1, and you get 30 or 40 different images. And these I printed out smaller. They are ATC size, so they're 2.5 by 3.5, but you can enlarge them or shrink them, you know, with your printer program or Word or whatever program you like to use. So I shrunk them down. So you'll need those images, and I'll link them down below. You're going to need some fabric. You're going to need some old book pages. You're going to need some flat elements to decorate What else? Some rickrack. Of course, you're going to need to distress, so you'll need some kind of ink or distressing tools. And finally, you're going to need... Uh-huh.
A marker.
Yes, you could. Actually, we are going to need a marker too. You're going to need some kind of glue. We're going to be using Fabri-Tac, but any kind of glue that you have, this is what we're going to be using. Any kind of glue that you have that does not warp paper and yet is strong enough to go ahead and work on fabric and on plastic is fabulous, right? You can use any of that. And then finally, we're going to use a marker. And the reason why is because when we use these little tiles, we're going to be actually, you know, going around the edges and knocking back and taking off that white edge on there. And these are the Tim Holtz, oops, excuse me, give me 1 second. These are the Tim Holtz, they look like Scrabble tiles, but they're actually chipboard. See how thick they are? They're not very thick at all. But, and that's the one thing that we wanted. We wanted to make sure that these were going to be flat enough that they could be used inside of journal pages and inside of journals without actually breaking the spine. So first, you're going to go ahead and print out and cut out your images. We went ahead and used our Fiskars paper edger scissors in the stamp pattern, but whatever pattern you have, or you might choose to tear them, but we wanted to give it that stamp edge so it looks like a stamp. So we did that. That's the first thing you're going to do, and feel free to pause the video if you want to catch up at any point in time. Next, we went ahead and took our piano, right, what we had backed up. We tore around the edges and we went ahead and distressed it, right? Next, we went ahead and we did the book pages. So we took plain old book pages, right? Let me see what I used. I used this right here. I just used a plain old book and I tore out the pages. And then we went ahead and cut him down to size according to the fabric that we had selected. And I did leave a little lip, as you can see there, so that it's actually a pocket. I mean, it could have been even, but this just makes it look a little nicer, you know? So we did that. So you'll need to tear those up and then, of course, ink around them. Then we went ahead and cut up our fabrics and our matching rickracks. Madison went through and picked what colors she wanted to select for which fabric. And that's where we're up to right now. So what I'm thinking we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and show you what we chose as a placement, and then we'll go ahead and, well, let's put one together. So I'll show you here an example of what we've done. This is the first one because it was right on top. So we have, let me remove these. We have our book page, right, folded over and distressed and inked. We have our fabric. I did use a, you'll need a seam ripper, and I went, around and just kind of frayed the edges, and you can decide how deep you want to make it. You know, to pull those threads out like that, and just kind of give it that fringe look, right? All right. So that looks good right there. We chose our word. In this case, the word is kind, and as you can see, this is the one of the ones that we went ahead and stamped. But I love how you can see the hang on, let me bring up that light for you guys. You can see the little slits on there and the words behind it, so that's kind of cool. Sorry about that delivery, and I'm sure it's going to be happening a lot today because it is the 23rd of December, so we're getting lots of packages, if you know what I mean. But anyway, so then we chose our image, and here's the image that we picked because we figured it had some purple in there as well as the orange, which kind of picks up on those colors. So that's going to go here. Then we're going to go ahead and have our word. We have our bingo chip. In this case, we picked purple, again, to pick up on those colors. The burgundy rickrack that Madison has selected, which we're going to trim down. And then our tile word. So somehow, somewhere, the layout's going to look something like this. So I am going to go ahead and speed through this process because you guys don't need to see me you know, gluing at a glacial pace, I'm sure. And then we will see how it turns out. Okay, and there we go. Now, love the layout, and I'll tell you why I absolutely love it. Because the bingo chip and the rickrack kind of worked to make this kind of prop itself up evenly. So I didn't even have to do any kind of a filler behind the tile, which is great. And it's still very, very flat. Hang on, let me see if I can show you guys how flat it is. It is very thin, so it will absolutely not hurt the spine of a journal if you so wanted to use it inside of a journal. Of course, now what's left is to go ahead and glue down the sides. You could also use your sewing machine. That would lend yet another really nice layer or element. You could also use your markers, right? And create a faux stitch. Your gel pens. In this case, we're going to go ahead and close it up. And complete the first pocket. So there we go. And always, of course, the most difficult part of just about any project is coming up with that layout, is coming up with the idea of it. Once we have it, then it's a matter of going through and actually putting them together and assembling them. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and go in and start completing all of these together. Madison and I will go ahead and gluing all of these and layering them. And then we will come back and show you all of the finished ones, as well as share with you anything that we've learned along the way, in case we came up with any other ideas. So stay tuned. Well, that was tons of fun. And here are the completed projects. Yes, they were fun. These are the ones that we actually had started with, the purple ones and orange colors. So show those to you guys. Now, we went ahead and left them open, and I'm going to share with you why we went ahead and after we thought about this, we left them open. Number one, because of course it only takes 2 seconds to add a bead of glue on the sides and close them and make them into pockets, right? So that all kinds of fun stuff can be inserted in there. But the other reason that we decided, wait a minute, was because we might even want to use a sewing machine on some, but the other one was we can always glue this back flap, right, onto a book, leave these like this, and then just have them open. We can gesso, or we can add, I don't have a piece of pretty paper, but you know what I'm saying, you can add some paper in there and always use that as a writing tuck in any journal or book.
You can also use a piece of napkin.
That is true. Oh yes, you could definitely collage a napkin on there. So we left them open so that we could have options later on. Never know, right? So these are those. Let me show you these pink ones. These images are so stunning and so fun to work with. And then here's some blue ones. You guys get the idea. I love these pieces of fabric and how cute the fraying looks on there. So there's a lot of details. Oh, let me bring up that light for you guys. There's a lot of details in a very small space. I mean, it's not that small, but you know, you can see it compared to my hand, that it's about the size of my hand. But those colors on those images are just phenomenal. We have some green and tan ones. And just so much fun to play with those images. Here's some other ones. I love this fabric too in the back. So hopefully this will give you guys some ideas on how to go ahead and utilize some of those beautiful images, some piano paper, as well as some of the fabric and some of those book pages that you have laying around, right? Old books that you might have read, some old readers. And yeah, and then of course, if you have some really interesting books, that would even be fun to use as well. So thank you so much, guys, for joining us. Thanks once again for supporting the channel.
And thank you for people in comments.
That's right. Oh, thanks for all the comments that I'm sure will be forthcoming. We will see you all soon. You guys have a blessed day. Give it a try. Bye.
Bye.